Hello and welcome to KJ's Kitchen. I am KJ. I'm 14 years a master fitness trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist, and most important to me, a happy mom serving up healthy meals from my kitchen to yours every Wednesday here on Facebook. Let me just check my volume. I do recall turning it down earlier. So I'm gonna crank that volume up. Give me some thumbs up if you can hear me quite well. So if you tuned in last week, it was in lieu of Cinco de Mayo, we did enchiladas, but we gave it a facelift by wrapping them in zucchini ribbon instead of using a corn or a flour tortilla. Now, I really intended on getting to this side dish during that segment, but we ran out of time. So this is a continuation of last week's enchilada dish, but this could be an amazing pairing with any dish really, but especially when you're doing anything Mexican night, whether that's tacos, enchiladas, tostadas, burritos, we got you covered. Although if you're doing burritos, maybe this will go inside your burrito. We're gonna start off and I want you to use any kind of pepper you prefer. I happen to have jalapeno in my refrigerator. Serrano pepper would maybe even be more authentic. But this one's nice and large, and if you look, he's a little wrinkly. He's been in my fridge a little long, but that's not gonna matter because we are gonna cook this. Before you got here, I heated up about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil and got my pan nice and hot so I can put that pepper right in. I just drop it in, the entire thing. What I'm doing here is I'm infusing the oil with a little heat. Here are a couple things we're gonna rock out today. I'm going to talk to you about the traditional side dish and then how I do it the KJ way. So the traditional side dish of beans and rice. I mean, number one, it's delicious, don't get me wrong. And when we go to Mexican restaurants, I don't skimp on the beans and rice. You can hear me cooking up over here. With this pepper, you're gonna want this guy to get a little charred on all sides. You're gonna flip him when he needs it. And that's going to allow the heat, the spice and heat from the pepper to get into the oil. So here's the deal, beans and rice. I'm not gonna skimp on that when I'm at a Mexican restaurant. But when I'm at home, I'm going to boost the nutrients, and that's what I'm gonna teach you today, and cut back on the carbohydrates. Because I'm not out running marathons. I'm not out doing endurance training. So I don't need to carb load. And so if you're anything like me and you're just living a normal lifestyle, you know, weekend warrior or a little bit of a gym rat here and there in the week, you don't need carb load. So with beans and rice, the healthiest part of that dish are the beans because they're gonna offer you the fiber and the protein. So we're gonna keep the beans. And now the rice, we're gonna make some substitutions and it's gonna taste just as good. But let's first cook up that pepper. Now this step here, you could skip. I'm gonna put that out there. You could skip, you could throw in a little bit of powdered like cayenne or ancho chile, something that will give it heat. I like this step because I learned this from one of my very closest friends who is Mexican, California, Mario Pondo Harmon. So if he is watching, thanks Mario for the awesome tips. I do like to go as authentic as I can when I can. So I don't know if I have my little prongs. I thought I did. Hang tight. Got my little pinchers just so I can turn him. That side already got charred, if you can see that. He's already cooking up on that side. I'm just turning him over and getting the other side cooked up. And in the meantime, let's talk about options. Today I'm gonna be using minced onion, like the dried onion flakes. That's because easy and because I have picky kids, so they see everything. You could be dicing up an onion right now fresh if your kids aren't picky or that's the way you wanna roll. You would be throwing that in as soon as we get this pepper done and you can start to get those onions translucent and golden. I'm gonna be using minced onion. Other flavor profiles. I like cumin, and I think it really brings a lot of Mexican flavor to food. So although maybe a traditional beans and rice isn't using a lot of cumin, I do choose this. I'm gonna teach you why. And then last but not least, we're gonna throw in some garlic powder. And if you like the heat, if the jalapeno or serrano pepper does not bring you enough heat, you're gonna top it with some cayenne pepper too. That's gonna be optional. I can smell that jalapeno right now. It smells good. Let me see the other side. I'm getting a nice char. So you can see already, here's what you're gonna be doing. Cooking it up, getting it nice and charred. I got 2 more sides here. Ooh, you can hear the heat of the oil. Now, if your peppers are smaller than mine, this guy is a 1, 2, maybe a 4-inch pepper, you might use 2. And you're gonna know after your first time trying this how hot you're gonna want it. Okay, so we're letting that cook up. I am ready to roll on this. I want you to choose your bean. The authentic version would be pinto. I really have a sweet spot in my heart and in my taste buds for black beans. I love them. If I have the option, I always choose black beans. So I'm doing that today. That's the KJ way. You could choose a pinto bean if you like. These are organic. I bought them at Walmart. I have to see which brand it is. Got it at Walmart for maybe 89 cents for organic beans. And here's something different for you. We are not draining the beans and we're not rinsing the beans. We're gonna use what I call the bean gravy, okay? So that's gonna help with the flavor infusion. And this little puppy has been cooked. Woohoo, look at that. Now when I say char, that is that. I'm gonna pull him out and I'm gonna get rocking with my bean gravy. I'm setting him here to cool down and I'm using a quick 1/4 cup. This is not a liquid measurement, but it's fast and easy. 1/4 cup of my bean gravy. That's me literally dropping in the bean juice, right? And this one's nice and thick. I can tell my bean gravy's thick. And I'm pouring it in. Pouring it in. I think I need to get more juice out of here. Get more juice out of there by pressing the lid down, holding it back. There you go. So I didn't quite get a 1/4 cup. Drop in my heat. Now first and foremost, I'm gonna start with my spice. Get your cumin on here. And let me get a little whisk too. All right, get your cumin. We're gonna go with, let me see, 3/4 of a teaspoon. I made up this recipe. It has been approved by even guests. So 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin. Now I'm putting the spices in first, infusing the oil. Here we go, garlic powder. I'm gonna go with 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Here we go, nice and easy. Minced onion, 2 teaspoons. If you are using regular onion, it's just 1 small onion chopped up, okay? I'm going 2 teaspoons of minced onion. I'm holding off on the cayenne. I do that at the end based on, woo, it's heating up. The smells, if you could smell this right now, it smells delicious. Woo. Oh, I love that smell of cumin. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm dropping in my beans already because my bean gravy, I could barely get enough out. If you have some juicy beans, see, I can see already there's not much gravy left in there. If you have juicy beans, you may have gotten your 1/4 cup of bean gravy out and then strained, like just press the lid down and strained it into a bowl or your sink because we didn't need, you know, a 1/2 cup of bean gravy. So you'll decide on what you've got going on there. I'm gonna get my little spatula and stir that up. That is amazing smells going on here. Now here's the magic. Number 1, was that easy? We're here for easy peasy. Had you made your zucchini enchiladas and you know you have 20 minutes in the oven, this side dish will be done before it comes out of the oven. You can take your time with it. But we're gonna get that done a lot quicker than that. Okay, and when it comes to any form of salt, I would like you to salt as you go. I'm missing one more, I saw on my list here. One more of my favorite ingredients, smoked paprika. Paprika. We've had this conversation before here on KJ's Kitchen. How do you say paprika? With like a sound of a double E or paprika? I don't know. I would like to maybe get the professionals in on this one to tell me, how do you say paprika? Here we go, half teaspoon of paprika. I did not get that in because I didn't have it out on my counter. So I'm just gonna stir it up. The color of the paprika is going to help. I like the smokiness. It's a smoked paprika, very different than regular. And there you go. So you can see the gravy in the beans already is saucy. I'm gonna tell you why I chose that. Because instead of rice, we are going to be using cauliflower. Cauliflowered rice. Now again, this is organic. I think it's $1.89 at Walmart. It's frozen. It's so frozen, I like to play really tough guy and I'm gonna slam it. Boom! Did I mix the camera up here? All right, slam it. Ooh, almost there. One more slam. Boom! Have fun with the kids. They can help you out. Now it is so loose. There are no clumps in that bag. Do not try that with a bag of ice. I have dented a floor once. This is tile here, but I've dented a wooden floor once and was like, oh, pavement, tile, maybe just stay with the pavement with bagged ice, right? Okay, so the cool thing about organic cauliflowered rice, let's talk about it quickly. If you're like, ugh, I don't like cauliflower. Well, I got you hooked up because that's why I'm using the bean gravy. It is going to infuse flavor into what seems very flavorless. So people who are like, I love cauliflower mashed potatoes, I hate cauliflowered rice. I'm gonna tell you it's because you're not seasoning it properly because cauliflower is cauliflower. So if you don't like cauliflowered rice, it's because you're expecting it to taste like rice. You got another thing coming. Now, if you're gonna infuse it with a ton of flavors and seasoning like I just did, and bean gravy, you're gonna not even notice the difference. It might be a textural difference, but the flavor is gonna be spot on. So we're gonna cut this bag open. This guy here is 10 ounces. It's pretty standard. If you shop at Trader Joe's, they also have organic cauliflowered rice. Theirs is $1.99. So 10 cents more than Walmart. And Aldi's has cauliflowered rice and I just have yet to find it organic. So hit and miss on whether that's happening. The entire bag goes in. Now, we like easy peasy here in KJ's kitchen. So we're gonna stir her up. That's easy. Let's talk about why this will be easier for you and more nourishing than your white rice. Number one, it's gonna cook down in 4 minutes. Cool, 4 minutes versus what, 40 minutes for regular rice? So the gist with this is you want to keep it frozen until you cook it. You don't need to sit and defrost it. It will become a watery, globby mess. You're going to get it into the pan and cook it about 4 minutes on medium high. I had to pop that back up now that the oil's not spitting at me. Do you see it already? It's not even cooked down. Do you see that bean gravy just coated the cauliflowered rice already? Okay, so it's gonna cook down. What's gonna happen in the process here, and you won't see it the way I will. First, it looks nice and thick like I just showed you. Then the cauliflower rice is gonna start to defrost and produce water. It's gonna look a little watery. And in about 3 to 4 minutes, the water will evaporate and boom, you know it's done. That's the way to cook cauliflowered rice, frozen. I usually buy it frozen because, as I have mentioned before, when you get a vegetable picked and it freezes right away, at least you get nutrition. But if you get a vegetable that's picked and it has to make its way to the delivery trucks, it then has to drive very far, if not get on a plane, and then get on more delivery trucks, then get into the market, and it might sit there a week before you get your hands on it, and then it's gonna sit there a week in your fridge. That's malnourished food, honey. So we do like frozen vegetables, and I really encourage people to buy frozen vegetables. Less waste, because you get to use it when you want to, and preserved nutrition inside. So don't go, oh, frozen vegetables, like, yay, frozen vegetables. So I do suggest frozen. Price point wise and nutritionally, it's gonna be better for you. So we're just gonna let this, you can start to see already, it's getting a little watery already. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to scoop a little up. It's getting watery, and that's okay. It's just one phase of the game. During these 4 minutes, we're gonna talk about how you're gonna top this. Now, if you cook this with me today, and you didn't have time to make tacos or your zucchini enchiladas, this is a delicious side. This dish could be a highlight of a dish. Add it with a fresh, amazing salad, especially when you start topping it with good stuff. I suggest alternating or like skipping out on the sour cream and going for a plain Greek yogurt. This one's Kebab. They are really good about pasture-raised farming. So that just means higher nutrients, higher trace minerals. If you are doing a yogurt or a cheese or a milk or dairy product that is pasture raised, meaning they are grazing on the grass, not being fed weird things like soy and animal byproducts. So this is awesome. 22 grams of protein, and I'm talking 6 grams of sugar per cup, but we're not putting a cup on here. But I use this instead of sour cream. No one would know a difference. On my table, if I didn't show them the bottle, they would never know they were not eating sour cream. I suggest full fat, so you're looking for the word whole milk, or 2%. Those two are gonna be the best tasting, and I'm one for having as whole food as possible. Had I seen that in whole milk, I would have bought it, because whole food's where it's at. Altered food, start to lose a lot of things. You can top it off with some hot sauce. We have Valentina here, Valentina. Again, a suggestion of my very close friend Mario Pondo Harmon. Hopefully he's watching, and he said he would come on my segment and share one of his uncle's family recipes with us. So we really get the fiesta going. So stay tuned for him in one of these coming weeks. Valentina is like, I don't know, 79 cents. Like, this is really affordable. What I love about this, different than Tabasco or Frank's Red Hot, is that it's got a very tangy backing, very vinegary, tanging flavor. I love it. And then we are going to, you could choose, top it with cilantro. Now, when you're going to be using herbs, you must wash them. They are very close to the earth and full of dirt. To wash herbs, to not bruise them and make them get really soggy and ugly. You don't run them through water and do that. You get a bowl of iced water. This is all herbs. Today's just cilantro. And you put it in, literally there are ice cubes in there. I don't know if you saw that. And you gently stir. I'm not rubbing and massaging. I'm not trying to get my kale broken down. You massage your kale. You do not massage your herbs. You gently move them through icy cold water. And that's it. You would drain this if I were near a sink. Instead, I'm gonna do like the pull-out method here. I am sorry, I did say that, and I'm not going to apologize. Oh, did I just apologize? Anyway, that's what's gonna happen here. Oh, cilantro. Get out! Sorry. This is a family show, so we're gonna keep it that way. Okay, all right. So I will pull it out. I don't have a paper towel nearby, so I'm gonna use this dandy towel to pull out my cilantro and let it dry out. Here again, I'm just using up some time to prep your toppings while we wait those extra 2 minutes for this water to evaporate. We're almost there. I can tell the water is pulling up. It's got a little pool. I wish I could just move the camera, but if I do, it might turn on me. I'm just gonna lightly pat my cilantro. There you go. And up to you if you do prefer cheese of some sort. We really use feta a lot in my family, so I like the little small crumbs to go on my side dishes. Crumpled feta, there's not much left in here, but enough crumbs to be sprinkling on top of my beans and cauliflower rice. Okay, let's check out this dish. I think we're about ready to plate this puppy. Whew, it's looking good. Now here's where the taste test comes in. Before you get to plating, you're going to test it out and see if it's got enough heat. So here's the deal. That cauliflower rice, the actual pieces of cauliflower, are still a little al dente, a little crunch. So I'm gonna crank the heat a little bit more and give it another minute or so. I can tell the water's still in it because it leaves a diluted flavor. I would be going right now, because I like the heat, I would be going right now to I'm gonna go a quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. This one's organic. We do organic whenever we can, because I like the heat. Now, I've done it before. I made this recipe because I had to create the recipe. And the first time I tried this, I did it with a half teaspoon, of cayenne because I always like to get actual measurements for you all so you can like actually make this recipe and not just the ingredient list. So half, my husband liked it. He's like, no, it's fine. I was like smoke out of my ears. So depending on your heat gauge, you would choose a quarter or a half or just sprinkle it to taste. But both cayenne and salt are gonna be to taste because I don't have the same palate you do. Rocking it out with the salt. Oh my goodness. You know what? It's because they have scribbles on this pad over here because I scribble when I'm writing recipes. Then I also forgot a pretty major ingredient that I think brings some good flavor in. I'm gonna bring it in, and again, it should have been cooking. It should have been cooking with everything else. Let's find it. Oh. Let me get some off the toaster because it wasn't shut, and the entire jar just fell onto my counter. If you can see that beautiful pile, I'm gonna take my half teaspoon and get my, oh, don't you just love live TV? Because I just lost my entire jar of marjoram. A half teaspoon marjoram. I was like, it's missing something. Why am I here telling you this is great when I'm like, it's still missing something? Marjoram. Now you could, I got a lot of marjoram. That was almost a full jar. And the full jar is now on my toaster, in my toaster and on my counter. So I really wish I'd have gotten that in sooner because the herb would have infused longer, but that's okay because when you leave me, I can keep on cooking. The thing with marjoram, number one, it's not a common cupboard herb. If you have it in your cupboard, rock and roll. That's exactly why it's in my dish because it's in my cupboard. If I had to, I can tell that water's going away. If I had to go and get some ingredients for this dish, I would have chosen to get Mexican oregano. Got it? It's not the same as Italian oregano. It doesn't even carry the same flavor. So if you want to be super authentic in your Mexican cooking, you would do Mexican oregano. If you happen to have marjoram in your cupboard, as I do, I'm not going to go spend $5 on a jar of spice that I'll only use in my Mexican cooking when I know I can substitute it for marjoram. So there we go. I can tell this puppy's cooking now. And now, again with the salt, now this might be a quarter teaspoon salt because we do eat salt in this house, pink Himalayan. I'm gonna give this puppy a real taste test now because it was missing something. Here we go. Now we're gonna taste it again. Woo! Night and day. Wow. Wow, the heat. I brought on the heat with that cayenne. Wow, the salt boosts all the flavors. Again, cauliflower rice itself is so boring and bland. And the marjoram, I don't know if that's like a citrusy note or what that note is because I've never just like tried marjoram. But it really did bring forward a really good flavor in my mouth. Super authentic. I'm gonna get a little dish and build this for you. Don't go away. Please don't leave. Get a little dish and build this up for you to show you how you might serve this. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer myself just to infuse that flavor a little more. I'm gonna show you this beans and rice and how you will have this. Oh, I have marjoram in my yogurt too. Hello. Little marjoram everywhere, huh? Now we're gonna get our cilantro. Again, that could be optional for you either love it or hate it, right? I like cilantro, so I love it. I'm gonna even put more on there. There you go. Going to get my cheese crumble. I'm gonna show you this dish. Cheese crumble. Now don't tell me if this is something you could get your mouth on anytime soon. Okay, can you see that puppy? Yeah, I wish the lighting was better. Steam is pouring off this thing. So I've got it all stacked up. The closest fork I can find is my daughter's plastic fork. And I'm gonna give this a good bite with everything involved. I like the cilantro on there, the feta, the Greek yogurt. You will not be missing your rice. The flavor is so insanely good. Like so good, you could eat that for lunch and then decide what other vegetable you're gonna use to complement your awesome cauliflower. Cauliflower is one of the best superfoods you could eat. Super anti-cancer. Even though it's not super green, it's even like more superfood than kale is. I mean, for real. So hopefully this recipe served you today. Pair it up with any of your favorite Mexican dishes. If you're going enchilada, wrap it with the zucchini. If you're going taco, eat it in a rib of romaine. Lighten up your dishes, guys, because the flavors in the meat, the flavors in the actual main part of the dish, we don't need to carry it with all these carbs. This is not only for like helping you trim your waistline, having a lower carb diet if you're not out running marathons and needing the carbohydrates and using them. It is absolutely helping your gut health because gluten, corn, all these things are so hard on your actual colon, slowly tearing through it. I promise you'll end up with IBS sooner or later if you don't start paying attention. So, hope that served you. Hope this serves you. You know what to do. Share the love any which way you can, if that means on your wall or if that means just giving me all those awesome emojis and options that Facebook allows us. And please feel free to tag friends. Feel free to write me a little love letter because I'd love to hear from you guys on how much you are enjoying these recipes. If you are not already subscribed to KJ's Kitchen in my newsletter weekly email, go ahead and use that link I'll be posting. If you are subscribed, you'll be getting this recipe shortly. Have a fantastic Wellness Wednesday and thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.